Hiya guys, so the main focus of the channel is going to be the vocal analysis of popular singers, but before I get to that I feel like I need to go through some vocal basics to kind of explain what's actually going on with what they're doing, and so what I'm saying actually makes sense. So there are essentially two main basics that we'll need to go through. Firstly, it's voice types, and secondly, it's vocal registers. In this particular series, I'm going to go through the vocal registers. I feel as it's incredibly important to get to understand them and what they mean and what they do before we can get into any singer's analysis. So a vocal register is essentially a gear stick in your voice. You can go up and down, all through your range with different stuff. All of them have different feelings, different colours, different techniques to get to them, and different ways of doing them. But they've all got their different uses in singing, and I'll go through them in each individual episode. So there are 5 main vocal registers to go through, a few sub ones here and there, but I want to go through them in terms of the most important. So the first one I'm going to use and look at is chest voice. So chest voice is the most important to start with because it's the easiest register to find, understand how to use, and to figure out. So essentially chest voice is your natural voice, or it can also be commonly referred to as a modal voice. It's a register you'll be using to speak with. It's a spoken register. It's kind of around where your most comfortable notes are, and it's where you'll be singing the vast majority of your lower, more comfortable notes. So to kind of find it, all you need to do is put your hand on your chest and sing a few notes around your speaking pitch. So da 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 da, and you should hopefully feel some slight vibrations in your chest. Not too much, you shouldn't be any throat tension, just some nice subtle vibrations in your chest. Hence why it's called chest voice. As I say, chest voice is responsible for the lower portion of your range, not the absolute lowest, but I'll get to that. That's a different technique entirely. But chest voice is kind of responsible for the majority of the low notes you'll be singing, so da. That will all be in things like chest voice. Also, it's important to note you can also bring chest voice up higher. However, there are specific muscles in your voice and your larynx designed to sing chest voice and more comfortable lower notes, and there are specific muscles designed to go higher. Now, those are where other vocal registers come in. However, chest voice can be brought up higher, but you need to be very aware of where your limits are and when you need to flip to those other registers. If you see somebody singing really shouty or straining too much to go high and to try and make it too powerful, that often means they're bringing their chest voice way too high. Obviously, this isn't where this particular register is suited in the voice. It can do it, but it's going to be heavily fatiguing on your throat, so I really wouldn't recommend it. But there are several places the chest voice can be used, and I'll go through some of those now. Okay, so there are 3 main areas of your voice where chest voice is the absolute go-to register and is by far the most useful. Firstly, your low notes. So let's just assume that your average singer has a useful and usable vocal range of around 3 octaves. So let's just say in this particular example from a G2 to a G5. To get to those lower portion of your notes, which you would say will be around the G2 to the D3 sort of area, you'd kind of bring your chest voice down. So for example, it would go like da 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 da, right? That's adding a lot of connection to your chest muscles, and you'll feel all of that in your all the vibrations in your chest there. And that's basically one of the 3 areas where chest voice really shines. So just to briefly explain how I did that, basically what you're doing is you're staying in your spoken register. You're bringing the feelings down a little bit, but you're also making it thicker. So in your voice, you can kind of go like da, right? You can add lots of airiness and breath, and you can add way more thickness. That's what I did there. So to bring down into your low notes, to really find where your low notes are, just play with your chest voice and go do, and just kind of find out where your low notes actually are. Obviously, this particular example, I'm using G2 to G5. Not everyone's gonna have that range. It depends on voice type and many other different things. But yeah, that's kind of to explain how I did that. It's just adding thickness to the muscles, using more of a muscle tension, and then basically bringing it down and feeling where your limits are. The second part of your range of chest voice is really useful in is your tessitura. Now, a tessitura is an Italian word. I don't know the exact translation, I don't speak any Italian, but it essentially means the most comfortable area of your singing voice. It's where your voice naturally shines and naturally sits and can do its absolute best work. So as I say, chest voice is the coordination you have the automatic most experience in. You speak every day and you have a lot of practice with the resonance of your chest voice, right? So let's just take the example of Mr. G2 to G5. Your average singing voice and your kind of most comfortable tessitura notes, obviously depending on voice type, basses would be lower, tenors would be higher. but would be around the D3 to C4. So kind of like the da 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 sort of area, right? Those are the notes where it'll be by far the most comfortable to sing. So if you think of kind of any song like ever made, you'll think that most verses are sung kind of in a lower, more comfortable place where everybody can sing along to, and the choruses are sung in this way higher place, which can be done in multiple different ways. The verses of those songs will generally be sang in that particular singer's tessitura, because it's by far the easiest and least fatiguing place to sing in your voice. So if you're doing a live setting and you're going to be singing for 2 hours, you need the majority of your songs to be somewhere where you can do it 100% of the time. It's easy, you don't require much thought of what technique you're going to use, it's just kind of where your voice naturally sits, because obviously it's the least fatiguing and it's where the least margin for error is. So any set you'll ever see, the singer's kind of going like da 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 da, like in that sort of pitch. It's because their voice is never going to struggle there. It's because it's where it naturally sits. They don't have to do anything fancy with it, and it doesn't hurt. So that's kind of why a tessitura exists, and it's where your chest voice does most of its work, particularly in pop music and things like that. So the third place that chest voice can work on your voice, it's kind of the least applicable of the three, but it does exist, is your mid voice. So Mr. G2 to G5, we're now looking in the kind of D4 to F4 sort of range. Now this for most men is where your first passaggio happens, or your first bridge. It's where the muscles responsible for the lower notes have to relinquish control for the higher notes, or at least need to take some of the responsibility away from there. So it's not really that easy to sing here. It's kind of where the most margin for error can happen, but it is a part of your chest voice you can use. So for example, the mid belt will be like a da, like it's quite shouty, it's quite belty, and it's really loud, because you have to, those chest voices are naturally kind of deeper, lower part of your range. So to get it up into those pitches, you have to really push it and kind of take it to its extremes. So it is quite fatiguing to sing here. You won't see too many people try and do it too often, because there are much more healthy and much more interesting and much better ways to sing higher notes. But if you kind of hear someone doing a really powerful note that's kind of high-ish, but not like the highest they can do, generally that's like them bringing their chest voice up into like a mid-belt. But you don't want to do all your belts exclusively in chest voice, because that will knack your vocal cords, because that is simply not what it's designed to do. But as I say, play around with that a little bit, do some notes around your mid voice, but don't push it too high, because you will damage your vocal cords if you do it too much. Okay, so that's kind of uses out of the way. Now to make things even more confusing. Did you know there is actually multiple ways of doing a chest voice, and not every single chest voice sounds the same, and you can do different things with it to make it sound lighter and heavier. So basically, singing is the relationship between vowel, air, and muscle. So if you play around with all of those things, you can get a wide variety of different results. So firstly, a lot of singers will use a lighter, airy chest voice, so like da 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 da, right? That has way less connection. It doesn't really sound very chesty or very big like everything I've explained earlier, but you're still in the chest voice. You'll feel all the vibrations still there. You're just letting way more air through your vocal cords, allowing less resistance from your muscles, and you're getting that airier, nicer, kind of more clean, lovely little sound. It's what a lot of pop singers do. If you hear someone like a Billie Eilish, for example, she sings really breathy all of the time. Right, she's still in chest voice, somewhere that's really comfortable, but she's allowing so much air through her vocal cords that she's getting a really airy, really personalised, really unique sound, right? On the flip side, you can also use a more muscle-based sound, so da, right? That's keeping way more connection. That's allowing less air to go through, and your muscles doing way more of the work. That can also be used with laryngeal positions, so if I like lower my larynx, it automatically does that, or I raise my larynx, it kind of does that. But like adding more muscle allows you to beef up the sound. It's what a lot of classical singers do, so no, like they're adding way more chest voice naturally and way more muscle to their sound. So yeah, just play around with it. You can do a lot of things with it. You can make it airy and light, or you can make it really heavy and big, or you can just keep it balanced and do whatever you want with it. Chest voice is really unique, so kind of just play around with yours and see what it can do, because it can do all sorts. Okay, so that's kind of the basics of chest voice out of the way. I hope you learned something. As I say, it's the easiest register to get to know, to learn to use, and to understand and to play around with. I also hope I've dispelled a few rumours. I hope that you now know that mega belting shouldn't be done in this register, or at least not exclusively, and I hope you kind of understand what's good for it and where it works in your voice with chest voice. So as I say, it's a really versatile register, so play around with it, kind of figure it out, and use it because it's the one you need the most. But thank you for watching. The next episode will be on head voice, which is the other end of the spectrum, and that will be a really fun one to do. So see you next time.